Hello, my lovely. It's Kogo again, now Tilir, because I figured out I prefer this name, but I leave the channel name on Kogo. We are here again with Universal Stoat's lovely crack fic called Midoriya's a god, so sayeth the news. I hope you'll enjoy this chapter 10. Class went relatively normal. Izuku counted it as a blessing. No one was hounding him with questions like Mina or Toru were bound to do if anything of interest caught their eyes, meaning Izuku was most likely in the clear, at least for today. They were in school yesterday, so it's most likely no one even saw the news. However, Kachan was quiet today. This tended to happen when Izuku got emotional enough to not keep up his mumbles, or, heaven forbid, be silent. Kachan always says he hates his mumbles, but once Izuku tested this out in middle school and stayed silent the entire day. It was less than a week after the whole Hawks incident. Izuku thinks he saw him praying a few times that day, and he was left alone. Kachan was very pale and almost fainted a few times. So to prevent that situation, Izuku kept up his mumbles. Tuning back into class, the bell rang for lunch. Izuku smiled and turned to his squad to see everyone looking at him with calming smiles. Izuku flinched back, not expecting everyone's eyes on him. "Are you all right, Midoriya?" Todoroki asked, oblivious to the guilty looks from the others. I'm fine, Todoroki, just..." Izuku looks at the others. "Wasn't expecting everyone staring is all." "That's..." Todoroki nodded. "Midoriya, I bought some katsudon if you wish for some." "That's very nice of you, Todoroki." Izuku smiled. Izuku once again glanced around the class, now noticing how Kachan was frantically scrawling in a notebook. Looking closely, he noticed it had Izuku's name on it. Izuku internally sighed, knowing he should talk to him during lunch at some point now. If Kachan was writing something about him, it was sure to end in pain one way or another. Everyone started filing out of the classroom. Once in the hallway, Izuku noticed how everyone not in class 1A or 1B either gave him a wide berth, expecting to be scolded, or looking at him in awe, like a savior. Some were confused why others were reacting the way they did. The confused ones were people who have not seen the news, Izuku's mind comments to himself. Once at the cafeteria, Class 1B swarm over to where Izuku is sitting with the Deku squad. Ochako grimaces when she sees Monoma, while Tsu holds her back. Ida was ready to pounce if things got heated. "Hello, golden boy of Class 1A!" Monoma does his signature posing, making most of the squad grimace except for Shinzo and Izuku. "Hey Monoma, how are you doing?" Izuku replies, his squad and most of the student body gawking at him like he grew a second head. Honestly, he could have with his possible shape-shifting abilities. "Well, 1A golden boy, you left your gifts from our party, and we wanted to give them to you." The party was dead. The room was dead silent. As Kendo hands Monoma the gifts Izuku had forgotten yesterday, since he had fallen asleep, Monoma handed Izuku a shirt that said "Honorary Class 1B member" and a limited edition All Might hat. Izuku beamed and started thanking all of Class 1B for remembering his gifts. After receiving the gifts, Class 1B dispersed back to their tables, leaving everyone else to wonder if what they had seen truly happened, or was a messed up fever dream. Lunch rush and present Mike handed Fled a few $100 off in the corner. Everyone decided to stay quiet, not wanting to risk the outcome of what they saw yesterday. Once done eating, Izuku got up and walked over to Bakugo, asking him to have a talk. Bakugo was silent and complied easily, only making the entire school internally plan his funeral. The two were now out of the hallway. Izuku turned to Kachan, who looked ready to die for some unknown cause. Izuku sighed. So, want to explain what you were writing? Izuku asked smoothly. Bakugo gulps, already signifying his guilt. I wasn't writing anything, nerd. Bakugo went on to the defensive. Cut the bullshit, Izuku demanded as he held his hand out. Bakugo silently handed the notebook to his childhood friend. Izuku took a little time to open it and read its contents, freezing as he read the name many tips on how to survive a live in Midoriya. Blinking slowly, Izuku lifted his head to stare at Bakugo, then again, dropping to look at the book. The vestiges were stunned into silence at the number of good ideas that lay in the notebook, all collectively agreeing to use these tips to calm down Izuku and bad days. Heck, there was a tip on how to get Izuku to bed with little to no fuss. Izuku closed the book, dragged his hand down his face. I'm not that bad. Oh, please. You're the worst. You're worse than me. Remember middle school? Bakugo barks out. You have no proof the hog situation was me. The vestiges all facepalm. You knew what I was talking about. And that level of planning had you filthy little analytical hands all over them. Bakugo shivers. No, fine, yes. Congratulations. Who the hell did you know? Izuku snarked back, unaware of who was listening now. Like hell, I'm telling you. You'll just get rid of it. The only tell I have on you. Also, why the hell did you never come clean? Why hide it? Bakugo seethed. Because it was never about fame, Kachan. I didn't care if people knew. I just wanted to help. Izuku explained. They both grew quiet after that. Izuku handed the book back to Kachan. Izuku gives him a look, saying, You're allowed to write, just don't share it. Bakugo nods, knowing breaking that line would leave him with no arms. Well. The two flinched at the new, yet familiar voice. Strolling up to them was none other than Hawks. Sup, baby bird? Couldn't help but overhear your little confession. Izuku pales, remembering the little promise from the news so many years ago. Looks like I finally found my savior, and you finally found your own personal bodyguard. Hawks was at UA to pick up Tokoyami for agency work. He came early so he could see Tokoyami spar during his hero training to see how much the kid improved. It was still strange to be a hero without the old commission. He loves it better, that's for sure. But it also felt wrong that the person who saved him could still face their wraths. It was currently lunchtime, so Hawks decided to wander around. He was imagining what it was like to be a UA student rather than being trained by the old commission. Coming out of his thoughts, Hawks heard two voices arguing. Stealthily, he hid behind a wall and listened into the drama. You have no proof the Hawk's situation was me. That caught Hawk's attention. Ha! You knew what I was talking about, and that level of planning had your filthy little analytical hands all over them. A voice hissed at first. Yeah, the first kid really sold himself short. No, fine. Yes, congratulations. Oh, how the hell did you know? Hawks zoned in on that voice, having heard it before. Wait, is that the bone-breaking kid? Oh god, if this was true, Hawks was never letting the kid out of his sight. He might prepare some bubble wrap. Like hell, I'm telling you! You'll just get rid of the only tail I have on you! Also, why the hell did you never come clean? Why hide it? First, good strategy. Second, why had he never come forward? It was never about the fame, Kaja. People knew. I just wanted to help. Hawk smiled at that. The kid had helped him and didn't care about money or fame. Maybe he could steal the kid and have him as his second trainee. The conversation seemed to stop as so now was good as any time for an introduction. Chapter 11. Izuku was panicking and wasn't thinking straight. Hawks had found out and was currently trying to be his bodyguard, so out of pure adrenaline, Izuku slanted his body and jumped out of the window. He was on the first floor. Not that it mattered, he had fallen from greater heights and survived. He did jump out of a window with his quirk on, so he landed a good 20 feet away. Currently, Hawks was gawking at how the kid had flung himself so fast out a window that he himself did not have time to stop him. Hawks were about to send feathers to retrieve him. Don't even try it, bird brain! The angry Pomeranian blonde barked at him. Turning his attention to the kid, he quirked an eyebrow. You chose the wrong fucking time to introduce yourself. Do you not watch the news? He has been on the edge all day, and now you show up. The kid began ranting. Honestly, it's amazing how many swears the kid knows. I know you were listening. Why the hell did you choose that line of your own personal bodyguard? Did you tune out what he said about fame and recognition? Again, the kid went on more rants. Yeah, Fox began putting a hand on his neck. I could have worded that better. You fucking think! You... Again, another rant for creating creative swears and threats. It's amazing that he never runs out of new ideas. The entire student body was terrified, all hunching in on themselves as they heard it. First, it was the crash. It was obvious that something had shattered a window. Everyone knew Izuku probably threw Katsuki through one for whatever transgression he had made. The next was loud cursing. They couldn't tell who it was, but based on the likelihood, it was probably Midoriya. The whole school was surprised at how creative the Sunshine Child's insults were. Weirdly enough, they were all bird-themed. Then everyone hears Netsu cackles. Netsu's cackles through the speakers that one of the halls is closed for repair. Seems like the principal forgot to turn his mic off as hysterical laughter fills the cafeteria. The students then created a memorial near one of the walls. Many people created flowers. Kirishima placed a framed photo of an angry Katsuki onto the memorial. No one asked why he had it. Momo created the decorations and the rest prayed silently where they were sitting. Aizawa then came by with tiny black Bibles with green embroidery simply marked Deku Cult. All took the little book like fish did to water. Once lunch was over, everyone collectively avoided the hallway, not wanting to witness a dead body. Izuku, Katsuki, and Hawks sit in the principal's office. You aware of what happened to my window? And I shall say this, Hawks, you cannot be Midoriya's bodyguard. Netsu chirps. Izuku brightens while Hawks looks ready to argue. Proper training, eh? Izuku deflates. Bakugo chokes on a laugh, and now Hawks seems eager to start their training. Of course, Principal Netsu wouldn't want me slacking. Also, Midoriya, I took the liberty to change your schedule to add in an extra class. Netsu once again chirps as he hands Izuku an envelope. Taking it, Izuku opens it, eyes going wide. Slowly, Izuku looks towards Netsu. Congrats, Izuku! You are now my personal student. As someone with your power and brains should learn to harness emotions so they don't fully control actions. Giving the examples of the exhibit, conference, and most recently the UA window, I think this will greatly help you grow. Bakugo faints due to a spike in blood pressure. He would later wake up in Recovery Girl's office, knowing just how screwed the world would be. Chapter 12. It was the last class of the day. Class 1A and B are going to the training grounds, all still reading the small Deku cult Bibles whilst they walk. When the two classes meet, Midoriya rushed to the group, looking sheepish and nervous at being late. If they didn't know any better, they would have seen this as normal Deku behavior. Now, however, with Bakugo obviously dead, they realized how he always pushed topics off of him, and how good he is at hiding himself. Not to mention his vocabulary when pushed far enough could make even Bakugo's mom blush. Today's training was simple, hand-to-hand combat training. The issue was now no one wanted to hand with Izuku, all shivering at the thought they would be the next victim if Izuku was still upset. That was until Bakugo walked up to the class, with bandages on his head, looking absolutely horrified at some unknown revelation. Kirishima started to cry. He ran into Bakugo, screaming about him being alive and so manly to have survived. Shiozaki began praising Izuku as a merciful godling. It was obvious that Izuku himself was unaware of his god heritage. He was most definitely a god of merciful justice. The rest of the class just shared relieved yet scared glances. Clearly, Izuku didn't go easy on Katsuki. The explosive blonde was severely traumatized. All tried their best to go back to normal, but most couldn't help the glances they shot towards Bakugo and Midoriya. Yoichi looked at the tiny Bibles that many of the students had tucked away. It seemed like the cult had just turned into a full-blown religion. The rest of his fellow ghosts drifted to where he was, so as not to distract Izuku, who was now going against Kirishima, the only one brave enough to even try going against Izuku. Did you hear what Redhead said? They thought Green Bean murderalized Explodo Boy. Benjo laughs. Ninja is never going to live this down, or die this down. Honestly, with how this is going, he may accidentally become the world's most feared person, or deity. Nana analyzed. That may be true, but that kid needs to learn how to lie better to Blondie over there. He blabs whenever his friend is near him. Bert chimed in. True on all sides, especially now that he has a hero bodyguard and is gonna be Natsu's personal student. The only this he has against him at this point is all for one, and honestly that's looking like less and less of a threat. The sixth says, Oh my god! About All for One. Nymph was literally on national news. There is no way All for One does not know this. Nymph Fourth frantically says. The All for One users. The One for All users agreed. All for One, having found the perfect quirk to fix his injuries, rejoiced. He was finally able to go back to his loving wife and child. He was still healing at the moment, so he was hooked up to many machines still, but he was so close to finally being free, truly free. All might be on the death's door, for from his own injuries he created a successor to fill his place as he returns to his civilian life, and the nymph user of One for All, Izuku Midoriya, will fall to Shigaraki, returning the quirk back to his rightful owner, him. The nymph user's name always pinged as familiar in his mind. However, he was not one to remember names. Even before his eons old life, they just always slipped his grasp. Even his dear brother's name had faded through the years. Despite his efforts, he could only remember his brother's face now. He had relied on sight to recognize people back in those days. That changed to sounds after that one day. He hopes his family didn't change too much over the years. His wife's beautiful green hair, their son's tiny freckles. Testing his eyes for the first time in years, All for One turned on the TV. Turns out some villains tried to destroy a museum of heroes, or something he couldn't care. They were stopped by Izuku Midoriya. The nymph had made national news. Interesting. The video plays.
No, it couldn't be.
His eyes widened. He recognized those features. Green fluffy hair and the same green eyes. His very same angry glare he used on those he saw as dirt, and those freckles creating a diamond on each cheek. What was the name his wife had named their son? Zuki? Zuka? It was Izuku. No, it couldn't be. The heart monitor speeds up as realization dawns on him. His wife is going to murder him!